Great, thank you so much. And it's Assistant Secretary for Border and Immigration Policy, not Information Policy, just for attribution. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm taking some time to speak with us. Happy to give a bit of an overview of what we've announced and where we're headed, and then happy to answer a few questions as time permits. So as I think everybody is aware, we have over the last year and a half really seen an unprecedented movement of migrants around the world at levels that, globally we haven't seen since World War II. This movement is, driven by economic and political instability in countries throughout the world, and was exacerbated by the continuing lingering effects of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Our hemisphere is, no different from the rest of the world in this regard. We are seeing large and novel movements of migrants from countries that we have not traditionally seen on our southwest border, and it has put a lot of strain, not just on our own resources, but frankly, the resources of all of our foreign partners through which these migrants are transiting. The set of measures that were announced last week were really inspired by and modeled on the success of the Uniting for Ukraine and Venezuela processes. The Venezuela process in particular, that was announced on October 12th, really demonstrated that the combination of a meaningful, lawful process for individuals to come directly to the United States from wherever they may be situated, combined with new consequences for unlawful entry at our southwest border, can really fundamentally alter migratory patterns and migratory flows. Prior to the implementation of the Venezuela process, we were encountering more than 1,100 Venezuelan nationals every day on our southwest border, and Panama had been encountering more than 4,000 Venezuelan nationals crossing into its territory from Colombia through the dangerous Darien jungle. In the weeks after the announcement, we saw our encounters at the border decrease by more than 90%, and Panama's encounters of Venezuelans decreased by more than 95%. So what we announced last week is a series of measures that combine additional consequences for unlawful entry with a robust expansion of lawful processes for people to come. We continue to be under a court order that requires the implementation of Title 42 public health authorities at our border that deny the entry of individuals. And these measures will begin under Title 42. However, we continue to fight the court injunction through the legal system. And these measures are designed to also be in place when we eventually succeed in lifting that injunction. So in a nutshell, the measures we've announced include the establishment of new parole processes for Cubans, Haitians, and Nicaraguans that are modeled on the successful processes for Venezuela and Ukraine. These processes allow US-based supporters to sponsor nationals of those three countries in addition to Venezuela, and file applications on their behalf. Supporters who are vetted and demonstrate their ability to provide financial support for the period of entry of the individuals who benefit from the process will then allow the beneficiaries to file their applications. Those beneficiaries undergo robust pre-travel vetting, and only those that are found not to pose national security or public safety concerns will be authorized to travel to the United States under this process. It's important to note that this process is entirely free to the beneficiaries and the supporters. There is no cost from the US government for participating in this process. Any individual that seeks to charge a fee for participating in this process is engaging in fraud and should be reported to our US Citizenship and Immigration Services. As part of the announcement, we also announced that we are lifting the cap on the Venezuela process. We had initially announced only 24,000 Venezuelans would be eligible for the process. We are announced instead that each month we will permit the entry of up to 30,000 total individuals through all of the 4 processes combined to enter the country through this lawful process. We also announced that Mexico has taken an independent decision to accept the expulsion of individuals from these 4 countries at our land border who enter unlawfully despite the availability of this lawful process. We also this week will be implementing a new mechanism for individuals to schedule their arrival at the land border. So the 4 processes that we just talked about are not in place at our land border ports of entry. The only way to use them is to fly directly to the US once someone receives a travel authorization. At our land border, we will be implementing a new mobile system that's called the CBP-1 application, or CBP-ONE. This app will allow non-citizens to schedule appointments to present themselves at ports of entry in order to be considered for admission. Initially, while Title 42 is in place, this will apply to individuals who can demonstrate that they meet the criteria for a vulnerability exception from the Title 42 public health order. But once Title 42 is no longer in place, CBP-1 will be used to help ensure the safe and orderly processing of non-citizens at our ports of entry. The last 2 major things we announced last week is that we will be increasing and enhancing our use of expedited removal under our regular Title 8 authorities for those who cannot be processed under the Title 42 health orders. This will include surging personnel and resources, as well as enrolling individuals into the asylum processing interim final rule that was published in March of last year. As a complement to all of these efforts, and as we continue to prepare for the lifting of Title 42, and in response to the unprecedented surge in migration across the hemisphere, we also announced last week our intention to pursue a proposed rule that will, subject to public comment, incentivize the use of these new and existing lawful processes to come to the US and also to seek status in foreign countries and our partner nations in the hemisphere, and also place additional or certain conditions on asylum eligibility for those who fail to take advantage of all of these lawful processes. We, as always, continue to very closely monitor what's happening along the southwest border and in the region. We are in constant communication with our foreign partners and the government of Mexico, and we will accelerate or implement any additional measures that are needed based on what we are seeing on the ground, consistent with all applicable court orders. So that is an overview of all of the things that were announced last week, and I'm happy to take any questions folks may have.
Thank you so much. We will now begin the question session. I will give every media outlet a chance to ask a question. When I call on you, please come off mute to ask your question. Please limit yourself to 1 question at this time. If time permits, I will call on journalists again if they still have their hands raised. Please use the hand raise function if you have additional questions and want to be called on again. The first question goes to the Nouvelliste.
Hello, everyone. My question is, the program will allow 30,000 nationals of these 4 countries. but what will be the quota, the ratio for each country per month?
Hi, that's a good question. We have not established quotas by country. Our processing will really depend on the demand for this process as applications come in. We are staffed to process up to 30,000 a month, so we're confident in our ability to meet that number. A couple of other things I should have mentioned earlier, but forgot to, is that there are ineligibility criteria for this process. Those ineligibility criteria include irregular entry into Panama, into Mexico, or across our southwest border. And so one of the things that we have done with the Venezuelan process that we will continue to do for these new processes is insist to all Haitians who are thinking about coming to our southwest land border that if you enter Mexico or Panama or the US unlawfully, you will not be eligible for this process and you will be expelled back to Mexico. This process really provides a set of benefits that are unique and much better than any other benefit you could receive by entering unlawfully at the land border. You will be eligible to apply for an employment authorization document as soon as you are admitted to the U.S. or paroled into the U.S. as part of this process at the port of entry, and that document will authorize you to work in the U.S. for the duration of your time that is granted through the parole process. All of that to say that we're really excited, for the opportunity for Haitian nationals to participate in this process, and really urge Haitians who may be thinking about coming to the U.S. not to put their lives in the hands of smugglers who are misleading them about what will happen at our border, and instead look to participate in this innovative process that will allow them to fly directly to the U.S.
Thank you. The next question goes to Rezo West.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudie. Yeah, my question will be, is it mandatory to sponsor people who will be able to work in USA? I mean by that, people right now in Haiti who can't work, like when they're over 70, it's okay to have those people come to USA doing this sensitive program, humanitarian program?
I'm not sure I understood that question. Could you repeat it?
I mean by that, someone in USA who would like to sponsor people in Haiti. If we have a parents over 70 that can't anymore work, it's okay to have people sponsor for that person in Haiti?
Oh yeah, so there are no limitations in terms of who can participate in the process in terms of age. The one limitation that exists is that unaccompanied children cannot use this process. But other than that, yes, in the example you noted, if there was a US-based supporter who wanted to file an application on behalf of an elderly person in Haiti, there's absolutely no restriction on the ability to do that. The employment authorization document is intended to be a benefit that can be used by individuals if they choose. I will say that in that example, the supporter would have to obviously demonstrate their ability to provide financial and other support to that individual for the length of the parole.
Thank you. The next question goes to Teleguine.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. And especially I say hi to Mr. Blas Nunes-Neto. So I take all my time to listen to you, to your presentation. So I have a three sets question for you, Mr. Neto. First of all, I would like to ask you, how long can you stay in the US with the humanitarian parole? And how long does it take to process humanitarian paroles? And the last question is a person with a B1, B2 visa eligible for humanitarian parole?
So those are all very good questions. The parole that is granted, and again, it's a case-by-case determination of parole that is made as part of these processes, is for a period of 2 years. And so if an individual is admitted through this process, the parole that is granted is for a period of 2 years, and individuals would have that time to live in the United States and to, and would need to figure out a path, what their plan is at the end of that 2 years. Someone with a B1 or B2 visa, could participate in the process. In general, we encourage individuals who have those kinds of visas to use those visas and not participate in these processes, but there's no legal restriction to participating if someone has a B1 or a B2 visa.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. For the next question, we will go to Radio RFM.
Yes, good afternoon. My question is, how long it will take to get the work permit in the US?
And I realize I didn't answer one of the previous questions, which is how long does the process take? So the process in general can be very fast. We have already seen the first arrivals, for example, of 3 individuals from Cuba as part of this process that was just announced last Thursday. So the process can move very fast. In terms of the employment authorization documents, those individuals, once they are granted parole at the port of entry, can apply for an EAD, an employment authorization document, through a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. It's an online process, and they can receive the authorization really in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks on average, but it can also be faster than that.
Thank you. I think we've called on all media outlets. Not seeing any additional hands, can I offer Le Nouveliste if they have another question?
Yes, thank you. So Venezuela land at Miami Airport, will it be possible for Haitian to arrive via Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or New York? Is there a specific port for Haitian?
There's no restriction on airports of entry. The only restriction is that this is not available at our land border ports of entry. So individuals who are granted a travel authorization as part of this process can book their travel to any international airport in the US.
Thank you. I will invite Rezo West. Do you have an additional question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm coming again, Mr. Neto. So,
Telegina? Oh, yes, Mr. Neto.
yeah, okay. Let me say that again. Isn't it a way for the United States to solve the migration problem by using the humanitarian parole program?
I think I lost part of that question.
So let's, if you don't mind, let's revert. We'll go to Radio Teleguinee after. I believe I had called on Rezo West, so let me ask them to, if they want to ask their question, and then we'll go back to Guinea.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Neto, by the meantime, what could be done for Haitians who travel through the sea? What could be done for those people since they have no one who could apply for them? What could be done for those people to stay in Haiti, not to try to travel to United States through the sea?
Yeah, that's a great question. We, want to be very clear that individuals who arrive in the U.S. through a maritime, route from Haiti will no longer, will be subject to expedited removal back to Haiti and will not be eligible to participate in this process once they're placed in expedited removal. We encourage all individuals who are in Haiti and thinking about, boarding a ship to come to the U.S. that not to do so. That is extraordinarily dangerous. We've seen way too many Haitians lose their lives that way, and we, the point of this process from the U.S. government's perspective is really intended to provide Haitians who are in need in Haiti with an opportunity to come directly to the United States. We have seen a strong filings from supporters on behalf of Haitian nationals thus far, and I know that there are non-governmental organizations and civil society stakeholders who are eager to provide support for Haitians who may not have family in the U.S. And so I, again, greatly encourage Haitians in Haiti to be patient and use this process to come to the U.S. Instead of putting your lives in the hands of smugglers and taking to the seas.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know Radio Teleguinee had a question, so go ahead.
So my question is, isn't it a way for the United States to solve the migration problem by using the humanitarian parole program?
So what we have said consistently from the very beginning of the administration is that the only lasting solution here is congressional action. Our immigration statutes are hopelessly outdated, and really until and unless the U.S. Congress acts, I think we will be continuing to face challenges in the migration arena and on our southwest border. We've also said, though, that we are prepared and willing to be creative and act within our current authorities to the greatest extent legally possible in order to try to tackle this challenge. And I think what you're seeing, from the president's announcement last week is our willingness to really do that within our existing authorities. But we fully recognize, again, that there are limits to what we can do under current statutes, and we encourage our friends in Congress to work on a bipartisan basis to help us solve this issue once and for all.
Thank you. And I think we have time for one more question. So let me ask Radio RFM if they have another question.
Yes, thank you, Katrina. I got maybe two questions very quickly. And people will travel with kids. So the kids, they arrive in the US, they should go to school. So what will happen? And another question, do you have a message for people continuing to take the sea despite the announcement by President Biden?
Sure. So like I said, families with children are eligible to participate in the process as long as the individual who's traveling with the child is a parent or legal guardian. And children who arrive in the U.S., can and obviously do have the ability to attend public schools in wherever location they end up. I would reiterate what I said to Rezo, which is that we strongly urge Haitians to not take to the seas, to wait and participate in this process. If they arrive in the U.S., if they're interdicted at sea, they will be returned to Haiti. If they arrive in the U.S., and are put into removal proceedings, they will not be able to participate in this process, and they could be removed to Haiti with a bar on coming back to the US for 5 years. And so we can't stress enough the importance to Haitians who are thinking about coming to the US that the best way to do that is to participate in this new process.